Okay, so shall we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so today we'll be discussing about health planning in India. Basically, are you aware about which is the organization which is carrying out these planning activities for the nation? Anybody? Have you heard of the 5-year plans? Five-year plans കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ? Is there anybody on the other side?
Yes, ma'am.
കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പം നമ്മൾ ഇന്ന് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത് വാട്ട് ഇസ് ദ നീഡ് ഫോർ ഹെൽത്ത് പ്ലാനിങ് ഇൻ ഇന്ത്യ. Okay, so planning is basically what we do for tomorrow. That is something we are doing for the future, whereas management is something we do today. The current activities and all that is that we planning being carried out for that is also referred to as management. So first of all, why should we plan? There are certain purposes for planning. That is to match the resources with problems. That is, you may be having very limited resources, and the problems may be huge in number. So to address these problems, there should be a proper utilization of the resources, and that can be carried out only if you match the resources with problems. You have to carry out planning in advance to eliminate waste or duplication of expenditure. Expenditure may be quite less, especially in areas where financial constraints are there in the budget. The allocation for health, the budget allocation for health is very less when compared to the actual need. So you're given little money, and with this little money, you have to carry out a lot of activities. So to eliminate wasteful expenditure, you should carry out planning. Then to develop best action for an objective, you have an objective in place. For example, suppose you are planning to carry out an vector-borne disease control program in a particular community, and you have limited resources in the form of your manpower, then your fogging machine, and other health education pamphlets. You have to carry out a best action plan. How you are going to carry out this control program in the community with these limited resources. So it is not just enough to have an objective. You should have a proper plan to carry out this objective. So these are the purposes of planning. Now, what do you mean by developmental planning? Developmental planning is actually not restricted to health sector. There are other areas like education, food and agriculture, transport, housing, etc. Along with that, the health department comes. So that is a continuous planning. Like നമ്മളിപ്പം കാണുന്നത് ഇപ്പോൾ ഓരോ വർഷവും നമ്മൾ ബഡ്ജറ്റ് അവതരിപ്പിക്കാറുണ്ട്. ആ ബഡ്ജറ്റിൽ ഇത്ര ശതമാനം അല്ലെങ്കിൽ this amount of money is allocated to health. But actually, ഈ ഒരു amount of money that has to be allotted for health, that a decision is taking place after a long series of discussions, series of lectures, series of meetings held. So it is a continuous process. ഒരു പെട്ടെന്ന് ഒരു സുപ്രഭാതത്തിൽ എടുക്കുന്ന തീരുമാനമല്ല. അതിന് പകരം ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് എ കണ്ടിന്യൂസ് പ്രോസസ്. കഴിഞ്ഞ വർഷം തൊട്ടേയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളിലും അവലോകനങ്ങളൊക്കെ നടത്തിയിട്ടാണ് ഈ കാര്യം തീരുമാനിക്കുന്നത്. So it is a continuous process. It is a systematic process. And for the investment of resources of a country in programs, aimed at rapid social and economic development. Since we belong to the health department, we will be mainly focusing on healthcare planning. So what do you mean by healthcare planning? What are the things coming under healthcare planning? First of all, when you're having a community in hand, you should identify what are the problems faced by the community. What are the community health problems? The problems may be raised by the people, or you may observe these problems in the community, or you may observe these problems in the primary health center. But there are some other problems or certain needs which the people may not raise. These are known as unmet needs. നമ്മൾ അനലൈസ് ചെയ്ത് നോക്കുമ്പോൾ ചില ഗ്യാപ്സ് ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യും. ആൻഡ് ആ ഗ്യാപ്സ് നമ്മൾ പുറകോട്ട് നോക്കുമ്പോൾ we can identify that this is arising due to some need of the community which has to be met. For example, നമ്മൾ എപ്പോഴും പറയുന്ന പോലെ ഇപ്പോൾ വാട്ടർ ബോൺ ഡിസീസ് ഔട്ട്ബ്രേക്ക് ഹാസ് ടേക്കൻ പ്ലേസ് ഇൻ എ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി. So we are trying to address the problem of waterborne disease outbreak by we are controlling the disease outbreak, we are providing medicines, carrying on disinfection and all that. But when you go deeper into the problem, you are seeing that there is no unified drinking water source. So during the process of transportation of water, storage of water and all, it can lead to contamination of water. So this is actually an unmet need to provide safe drinking water. Then you have to survey the resources to meet them. So once you have identified the problems and the needs and all, you should identify the resources. What all resources you have in hand and whether it is sufficient to meet these needs. Now, once you've identified the resources, then you should establish priority goals. When you're going for planning, you can see that so many problems will crop up. All of a sudden, it will seem that all these problems are very important and they have to be addressed at the same time. But actually, on further thinking and by seeing various situations, various criteria, we can establish certain priorities. Certain problems, they need to be addressed soon with immediate effect, and that will lead on to a large, the advantages by meeting these problems will be very huge. So you should set these goals as priority goals. Then finally, you should project administrative action to accomplish the purpose of the proposed programs. Now there are some other terms which okay, now there are some terms which are commonly used in planning. And first, there is the health needs. Deficiencies in health that call for preventive, curative, control or eradication. Then resources. Resources refer to 3 M's. M means manpower, material and money. So these are the 3 M's. Then skills, knowledge, techniques and time. Then comes objective. Objective is the planned endpoint of all activities. So when you are carrying out a particular plan, you need to have certain objectives right from the beginning of the project. And at any point of time, when you are having a confusion, you should see whether the plan is being carried out or the project is being carried out as per your planned objective. Now, this objective is a broad thing. It's a planned endpoint. This endpoint, there may be so many discrete activities which are known as targets. For example, when we are talking about control of TB, we are saying that we should bring down the incidence of TB and we should bring down the prevalence of TB to less than 20 or 30%. But that is just an objective. How will you carry out this objective? For carrying out this objective, you should ensure that screening is carried out on time. So that is the target activity. You should ensure that there is complete treatment is provided to the affected individuals. That is another discrete activity. Then you should ensure quality drugs are available. You should ensure that there is very less defaulters. Defaulters percentage is very less. So these are all certain discrete activities which are coming under the control of TB. Whereas the broad objective is reducing the prevalence of TB. Now, what is the goal? Goal is the ultimate desired stage. Okay, so we should decide statements. You can say that the state should be free from communicable diseases, or the state should be free from vector-borne diseases. It is a goal. It is a broad goal, and that goal can be attained only by carrying out the objectives and the targets in place. So it is not necessary that you should always achieve your goal. Okay, we have this. Are you familiar with this MDG, SDG, Sustainable Development Goals? Have you heard of the Sustainable Development Goals?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, have you achieved these goals?
No, ma'am.
No. So actually, these goals are kept for a long term. Actually, it is kept around 2030. By 2030, we should achieve these goals. Okay, it's a so we still have years ahead. So it is an ultimate desired state. ഇനി ആ ഒരു സമയം നമ്മൾ അച്ചീവ് ചെയ്യണമെന്നില്ല. Then we'll be again revising how we can achieve these goals. കുറച്ചും കൂടെ strategies revise ചെയ്യപ്പെടും. Now, coming into the proper process of planning, I already told you about objectives. Then comes the policies, programs. So these policies are നമ്മളിപ്പോ കോവിഡിന്റെ കാര്യത്തിൽ നിങ്ങൾ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാവും, certain guidelines are there. So it is not necessary that you should carry out everything as per the guideline. So these guidelines are actually, they are trying to guide you. Okay, just by the name guideline. So it is guiding you, certain guiding principles. So you can carry out your activities by referring to the policies or guidelines. And what are the programs? Programs are sequence of activities designed to implement policies or accomplish objectives. Now, if you take the communicable disease control program, so that is the program. What are the activities coming under? Can anybody tell what are the activities coming under the non-communicable disease control program? Anybody? NCD control program എന്തൊക്കെ activities ആണ് വരുന്നത്? I think we have discussed this several times in your community medicine posting.
Ma'am, NCD clinics.
Very good. Conducting NCD clinics. Anything else?
Screening.
Yeah, screening for identifying early diabetes and hypertension. Anything else? So you talked about screening, you talked about clinics. Now, once you have identified these patients, what will you do?
Ma'am, medication.
Yeah, provide them medication. Now, suppose they have suffered from the complications of the disease, what will you do?
Rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation in the form of palliative care, isn't it? Palliative
Yes,
care കണ്ടിട്ടില്ലേ?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, അപ്പൊ ഇതൊക്കെയാണ്. അപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ ഈ പറയുമ്പോൾ it is just a single program. It is a non-communicable disease control program. But these are all the activities coming under this program. Only if you are carrying out these activities in the proper time and manner, the program can be said to be a success. Now, what do you mean by schedule? Schedule means a time schedule. There are some programs. Excuse me. Hello, Jinsi class. എന്ത് പറ്റി പറഞ്ഞോ? വന്നോ ഇപ്പൊ കുറച്ചു മുമ്പ് തുടങ്ങിയതല്ലോ. ഉണ്ട് വന്നു. So certain activities, they have to be carried out in a specific time period. So you cannot afford any type of delay in these activities. So അതിനു വേണ്ടിയാണ് നമ്മൾ certain schedules set ചെയ്യുന്നത്. That is, you will carry out these activities in this particular time. Can you tell me any particular activity, any ഒരു national program which is carried out in proper time schedule? ഒരു proper time schedule വെച്ച് നടത്തുന്ന ഒരു program. Anybody? ഒരു national program. I'll give you a clue. It is something related to children.
Ma'am, immunization.
Very good. Immunization schedule. So immunization schedule ഒരു പ്രത്യേകത എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾ ഈ ബാക്കി പ്രോഗ്രാംസിൽ പറയുന്ന പോലെ ഒരു വർഷത്തിൽ നമുക്ക് ഇന്ന കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യാം എന്ന് പറയാൻ പറ്റൂല. സോ ദി ചൈൽഡ് ഹാസ് ടു ബി ഗിവൺ. ഇപ്പൊ 5 വയസ്സിന് താഴെയുള്ള ഒരു കുട്ടിക്ക് ആ സമയത്ത് തന്നെ ഇമ്മ്യൂണൈസേഷൻ കൊടുക്കണം. അത് നമുക്ക് 6 വയസ്സിലോ 7 വയസ്സിലോ കൊടുക്കാം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അങ്ങനെ നമുക്ക് ഡിലേ ചെയ്യാനോ പോസ്റ്റ്പോൺ ചെയ്യാനോ പറ്റത്തില്ല. സോ അതിനൊക്കെയാണ് നമ്മൾ ഒരു സ്പെസിഫിക് ടൈം ഷെഡ്യൂൾ കീപ്പ് ചെയ്ത് പോകുന്നത്. Then there are procedures. Procedures are set of rules for work. Have you heard about SOPs? Has anybody heard of SOP? Anybody? നിങ്ങൾ ക്ലിനിക്സിലൊക്കെ പോകുമ്പോൾ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ SOP എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു? Okay, I assume that you don't know about it. So SOP refers to standard operating procedures. If you are നമ്മളിപ്പം immunization കാര്യമാണ് പറഞ്ഞത്. അപ്പൊ I'll just tell അത് തന്നെ പറയാം. If you want to carry out immunization in a particular place, how you should carry out the immunization? Who are the people involved? And what time you should carry out? And what are the different steps should be ensured? So these are all the procedures. അപ്പൊ അതിന്റെ ഒരു സെറ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഓപ്പറേറ്റിംഗ് പ്രൊസീജിയേഴ്സ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ the mistakes, the commonly occurring mistakes can be avoided. So these are the various steps of planning. Now ഈ പ്ലാനിങ്ങിന് മുമ്പായിട്ട് ഒരു പർട്ടിക്കുലർ പ്രോഗ്രാം ഐഡന്റിഫിക്കേഷൻ ഏറ്റവും പ്രധാനമായിട്ട് വരുന്നത് there should be strong political will. Only if there is a political will from the side of political parties and from the government that this particular program or this particular project has to be carried out. എന്നൊരു വില്ല് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ മാത്രമേ അത് മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ എത്ര ഹെൽത്ത് പ്രോബ്ലംസ് ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ചെയ്താലും നമ്മൾ അത് ഒരു പഞ്ചായത്തിലോ ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു മുനിസിപ്പാലിറ്റിയിലോ കോർപ്പറേഷനിലോ ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഗവൺമെന്റിലെ തന്നെ അവതരിപ്പിക്കുമ്പോൾ they should also feel the need for this particular program. They should feel that this carrying out this program is going to give what is great benefit to the people. അങ്ങനെ ഒരു കാര്യം നമുക്ക് കൺവിൻസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റിയാൽ മാത്രമേ അവര് അത് ഏറ്റെടുക്കുള്ളൂ. പിന്നെ വേറൊരു കാര്യം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ പോളിസീസ്. നമ്മളിപ്പം അതിന്റെ ഒരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ലെജിസ്ലേഷൻ. ലെജിസ്ലേഷൻ ഇസ് വെരി ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ്. സർട്ടൻ പോളിസീസ് അത് ലോ ആയിട്ട് മാറിയാൽ മാത്രമേ നടക്കുള്ളൂ. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഇല്ലീഗൽ അബോർഷൻസ്. നമ്മൾ പറയാണ് ഒരു ഹെൽത്ത് പ്രോഗ്രാം വി ആർ ക്യാരിങ് ഔട്ട് that we should reduce the number of illegal abortions being carried out. നമ്മൾ എത്രയൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞാലും അത് ഒരു പരിധിക്ക് അപ്പുറം നമുക്ക് കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. സോ ഫോർ ദാറ്റ് യു ഹാവ് ടു ബ്രിങ് അബൌട്ട് എ ലെജിസ്ലേഷൻ ഇൻ ദ ഫോം ഓഫ് മെഡിക്കൽ ടെർമിനേഷൻ ഓഫ് പ്രഗ്നൻസി ആക്ട്. Now then next is there should be an organization for planning. Now we had the Planning Commission in India, which is now replaced by the Niti Aayog. Then there should be proper administrative capacity to coordinate all the activities and implementation of the plan. Now this is the planning cycle. We already discussed the karyana, and just take this as a revision. And this cycle is very important. It can be asked as a short note. Then you are expected to draw this diagram. So first you should analyze the health situation, then identify the objectives and goals, assess the resources at hand, then identification of your priorities. Then you should formulate a plan. Then you should identify programs, implement these programs, then monitor the process, monitoring of the process of the activity or the program. Finally, you have to evaluate. See, so you should, these two terms also, monitoring and evaluation, എപ്പോഴും ഒരുമിച്ച് പറയുന്ന രണ്ട് വാക്കുകളാണ്. അതിൽ നിങ്ങൾ അറിഞ്ഞിരിക്കേണ്ടത് monitoring is something which is you're carrying out throughout the process to see whether things are taking place on time, taking place as planned, without wasteful expenditure, etc., etc. Whereas evaluation is done at the end. You are evaluating whether your objectives have been met, your outcome has been achieved. So this is coming under evaluation. Now, Adim, analysis of health situation. You should see the population in an area, the statistics of morbidity, mortality, the epidemiology, how are the disease distribution, the medical care facilities available, the manpower, training facilities, what are the common attitudes and beliefs in that particular area. So these are all coming under the analysis of health situation. Next comes establishment of objectives and goals. I already told you what do you mean by an objective. So it should be specific. There are some other things, I think. all of you have carried out projects. You have all done research projects and you're all familiar with objectives. So by now you will know that your objective has to be very specific. Now you cannot just say that I will bring down the incidence of waterborne diseases in a particular area. You should be specific in the terming the percentage. By what percentage will you reduce the incidence of waterborne diseases? Then whether it is easily measurable. Another thing is you should assess the resources, which we already told, manpower, money, materials, skills and knowledge, technical needs, etc. So next is fixing priorities, determining priorities that we already discussed earlier, how you should prioritize your problems and objectives. Then you should write down formulated plans. So a detailed plan of how you are going to carry out your activity, how you are going to carry out the health activity. And each stage in the cost, samayam, specify cheyan. Then programming and implementation. There should be well-defined procedures. We already discussed that. Then who will do what? So that is what we mean by assigning and fixing responsibilities. Define the roles and tasks. Then select, train, motivate people and carry out proper supervision. Then organization and communication. So all this is coming under programming and implementation. Monitoring and evaluation, just coming towards the end of the planning cycle. And monitoring is the continuous process of observing, recording, and reporting the activities of the organization or project and keeping track of the activities. Whereas evaluation measures the degree to which the objectives and targets are fulfilled and the quality of results are obtained. When you have objective outcome, അത് എത്രത്തോളം നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അച്ചീവ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റി എന്ന് മെഷർ ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ് ഇവാലുവേഷൻ. വെറസ് മോണിറ്ററിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുമ്പം ആ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാം പ്രോസസ് ത്രൂ ഔട്ട് ദ പ്രോസസ് നമ്മൾ മോണിറ്റർ ചെയ്യുക ആൻഡ് ഒബ്സർവ് ദി ഫൈൻഡിങ്സ്, റെക്കോർഡ് ദി ഫൈൻഡിങ്സ്, എക്സെട്ര. So now we have come to the end of the planning process. So just going through it once again. So first we will analyze the health situation. Then you will set the objectives and goals. You will assess the resources available, set priorities, formulate a plan, then programming and implementation of the activities, then do monitoring and evaluation. So this is the planning cycle. Now, this planning cycle, if we health in the we can actually use that for any particular sector. Either sectors use it. It's not just something limited to health section. Now, India, our topic is mainly about the planning in India. But India, planning actually, the class is a very short class. I don't have enough time to tell you what are the various activities taking place in India. Just to give you an overview, national health policy. The latest national health policy is 2017. If anybody of you have the latest PARC, I think it is the 2021 edition. അതിനെ പറ്റിയെല്ലാം കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഒരു പക്ഷേ നിങ്ങളുടെ എക്സാമിന് ചോദിക്കാനും സാധ്യതയുള്ള ഒരു കാര്യമാണ് നാഷണൽ ഹെൽത്ത് പോളിസി. അപ്പൊ അതിൽ കുറെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ടാർഗറ്റ്സും എല്ലാം വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ അത് വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ ഹെൽത്ത് സെക്ടറിൽ പ്ലാനിങ് നടത്തുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, സോ ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് ബേസ്ഡ് ഓൺ ദി നാഷണൽ ഹെൽത്ത് പോളിസി വി ആർ ക്യാരിങ് ഓൺ പ്ലാനിങ്. അപ്പൊ ഇതിനായിട്ട് പ്രീവിയസ്ലി ഇന്ത്യയിൽ 1950 the planning commission was set up. This planning commission is a group having a chairman, a team of experts, and they carry out this planning throughout the year. So throughout the year, they're thinking of what should be done, how it should be done, fixing priorities, allocation of budget. തുടങ്ങിയ എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളും ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു കമ്മീഷൻ ആയിരുന്നു. പക്ഷെ 2014 it was dissolved. When the Modi government came, and now it has assumed a new form, that is in the form of Niti Ayog. That is, it is also known as National Institution for Transforming India. So it is a think tank of experts. Okay, so ഇതിലെ ഒരു പ്രത്യേകത എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ all the chief ministers from all the states, they come forward in the meetings of Niti Ayog. So നമ്മൾ ഈ പ്ലാനിങ് പറയുമ്പോൾ ആദ്യം നമ്മൾ അറിഞ്ഞിരിക്കേണ്ട ഒരു കാര്യം, in the pre-independence era or just after the independence was attained, India was facing so many problems. Actually, several problems are continuing even now. As you can see in the pictures, there is child marriage, extreme poverty, then the issue of waste management, slums, unhygienic situations. So these are all the problems India was facing during that time. And several of the problems are being, continuing unresolved even now. But ഈ ഒരു സമയത്താണ് we identified so many causes of low levels of health. That is insanitary conditions, malnutrition, undernutrition, inadequacy of preventive and medical health organizations, general education and health education was weak, the social background of ill health. അപ്പൊ ഇങ്ങനെ കുറെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ പഠിച്ചിട്ടാണ് it was can anybody identify this person? He may not be familiar to you by his looks, but he plays a very important role in community medicine. So he is Sir Bohr. Okay, the Bohr committee is the pioneer of the Bohr committee, or the person who was responsible for Bohr committee and its recommendations. Okay, this came ഈ ഒരു ഭയങ്കര നമ്മുടെ പോസ്റ്റ് ഇൻഡിപെൻഡൻസ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന ഇന്ത്യയിൽ ഫേസ് ചെയ്തിരുന്ന കുറെ ഹെൽത്ത് ഇഷ്യൂസ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പൊ ആ ഒരു സാഹചര്യത്തിലാണ് ഈ ബോർ കമ്മിറ്റിയുടെ ഒരു ബിഗാൻ. So this നമ്മള് ഈ in your park you can say ആ ഹെൽത്ത് പ്ലാനിങ് ചാപ്റ്റർ എടുത്ത് നോക്കിയാൽ കുറെ കമ്മിറ്റീസ് കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. നിങ്ങൾ ഇനി PG എൻട്രൻസിനൊക്കെ പോകുമ്പോഴേ ഈ ഓരോ കമ്മിറ്റിക്കും ചില പ്രത്യേകതകളുണ്ട്. ഇതായിരിക്കും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് മൾട്ടിപ്പിൾ ചോയ്സ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ആയിട്ടൊക്കെ ചോദിക്കുന്നത്. ഓരോ കമ്മിറ്റിയിലും there are certain specific things. അപ്പൊ അതിൽ അറിഞ്ഞിരിക്കേണ്ട ബോർ കമ്മിറ്റി is mainly responsible for primary health care. I have not included that in the slide. But this was the main committee responsible for primary health care. The concept of primary health care was introduced by Sir Bohr, and he was the person who said that there should be a training in preventive and social medicine. Appo ningal ee kaanunna community medicine angane oru degree അതിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇമ്പാർട്ട് ചെയ്തു തരുന്ന ട്രെയിനിങ്ങും ഹൗസ് ഏജൻസി പീരീഡ് നിങ്ങൾ അണ്ടർഗോ ചെയ്യുന്ന ട്രെയിനിങ്ങും അതിനുശേഷം ഈ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി മെഡിസിൻ കൊണ്ടുണ്ടാവുന്ന കുറെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ. ഓക്കെ, സോ ഓൾ ദിസ് came under the Bohr committee. Bohr committee recommendation വന്നതിന് ശേഷമാണ് ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഡിസിപ്ലിൻ, പ്രിവെന്റീവ് ആൻഡ് സോഷ്യൽ മെഡിസിൻ ഡിസിപ്ലിൻ വന്നു. അതിന് ട്രെയിനിങ് കൊടുത്തു. ആൻഡ് they were known as the social physicians. And they are also responsible for Rome postings. അതായത് പണ്ട് when you can go back to your parents ആ ഒരു ഏജ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതിന് മുമ്പായിട്ട് നോക്കുമ്പോൾ മെഡിക്കൽ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ MBBS പഠിക്കുക എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ MBBS പഠിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ക്ലിനിക്കൽ ഏരിയാസിലേക്ക് ഒരു തന്നിട്ട് ഒരു എക്സ്പോഷർ തന്നിട്ട് you are given the degree, you are passing out with degree. So it was later that it was identified that community medicine plays a very important role, and there should be certain community related postings. Children should be aware about what is happening in the community, what are the health problems in the community, what are the various health programs taking place. So അതിനുള്ള ഒരു പോസ്റ്റിംഗ് ആണ് റോം പോസ്റ്റിംഗ്. ഇറ്റ്സ് ഓൾസോ നോൺ ആസ് റിവൈസ്ഡ് ഓറിയന്റേഷൻ ഓഫ് മെഡിക്കൽ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ. ഈ ബോർ കമ്മിറ്റിയുടെ ഇതിലാണ് നമ്മൾ ഈ പ്രൈമറി ഹെൽത്ത് കെയർ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ. പ്രൈമറി ഹെൽത്ത് കെയർ ഓർ ദി പ്രൈമറി ഹെൽത്ത് സെന്റേഴ്സ്, അതിന് ഒരു ലോങ് ടേം പ്ലാൻ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു, ഒരു ഷോർട്ട് ടേം പ്ലാൻ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. So the short term plan was a PHC for every 30 to 40,000 population. The PHC should have 2 doctors, 4 public health nurses, 4 midwives, 1 nurse and others. And long term plan, a primary health unit for every 10 to 20,000 population. Then there should be a secondary unit, district unit, etc. we can see that ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ ബോർ കമ്മിറ്റി എത്രയോ വർഷം മുമ്പ് വന്ന ഒരു കമ്മിറ്റിയാണ്. ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് ഡ്യൂറിങ് അവർ പോസ്റ്റ് ഇൻഡിപെൻഡൻസ് ആ ഒരു സമയത്ത് വന്ന ഒരു കമ്മിറ്റിയാണ്. അതിന്റെ റെക്കമെൻഡേഷൻസ് വന്നെങ്കിലും ഇപ്പോഴും പല സ്ഥലങ്ങളിലും ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് നോട്ട് യെറ്റ് ഇംപ്ലിമെന്റഡ്. Next comes the Mudaliar Committee. Mudaliar Committee is its another name is the Health Survey and the Planning Committee. So it was responsible for strengthening PHCs before establishing new ones. 1962 there was a need or search for പുതിയതായിട്ട് PHCs ഉണ്ടാക്കി എടുക്കണം എന്നുള്ള. അപ്പം already existing PHCs were not functioning properly. അപ്പം മുതലിയർ കമ്മിറ്റിയാണ് പറഞ്ഞത് ഇപ്പം ഉള്ള PHCs ആദ്യം സ്ട്രെങ്തൻ ചെയ്തതിന് ശേഷം മാത്രമേ പുതിയ PHCs എസ്റ്റാബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്യാൻ പാടുള്ളൂ. Then they also strengthened subdivisional and district hospitals. Then they also are responsible for the creation of all India health services. Next comes the Chadda Committee. So Chadda Committee is mainly for the malaria. Okay, malaria elimination program. അതായിരുന്നു അവരുടെ മെയിൻ ഫോക്കസ്. So I'll just tell you these committees just ഒന്ന് അവർ എന്തൊക്കെ ചെയ്തിരുന്നു. ബോർ കമ്മിറ്റി is responsible for training in preventive and social medicine, ROM postings and primary health centers. Mudaliar Committee is responsible for health survey and planning committee, creation of all India health services, strengthening subdivision and district hospitals. Chadda Committee was its main importance was maintaining of arrangements for a national malaria elimination program. The committee also said that the malaria worker should function as a multi-purpose worker. That is not just malaria control activities. They should also be responsible for vital statistics like birth and death, family planning, etc. Then comes the Mukherjee Committee. അപ്പം ചഡ പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നത് മലേറിയയും ഫാമിലി പ്ലാനിങ്ങും എല്ലാം ഒരുമിച്ച് ചെയ്യണം. പക്ഷെ when it came to Mukherjee, they saw that both suffered. That is, the malaria control activities suffered and family planning suffered. So they led to separate staff for the family planning program. So this led to the inception of basic health services. Jangalwala Committee was responsible for integration of health services, a unified approach for all problems instead of a segmented approach. Now, Kartar Committee was the committee responsible for multi-purpose worker. So it is the multi-purpose worker committee. It said that one PHC should cater to 50,000 population and each PHC should have at least 16 sub-centers. So at least 16 sub-centers for a PHC. Then training requirements, utilization of mobile service units, etc. So ഇതൊക്കെയാണ് കർത്താർ കമ്മിറ്റി മെയിൻലി നിങ്ങൾ അറിഞ്ഞിരിക്കേണ്ട multi-purpose worker. Then comes the Srivastava Committee. Srivastava Committee is a group on medical education and support. So it was the committee which put forward the concept of community health workers. അതായത് നമ്മൾ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ മൾട്ടിപർപ്പസ് ഹെൽത്ത് വർക്കേഴ്സ് അല്ല, ഈ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി ഹെൽത്ത് വർക്കേഴ്സ് എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ ആ പർട്ടിക്കുലർ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി തന്നെ ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ചെയ്തെടുക്കും. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ, we can see our present day ASHA workers. They are people coming from the community itself. So it is believed that they will have more obligation to the community and will carry out a more sincere work. And this committee was also responsible for development of a referral services complex. Now, next comes the Nidhi Ayog. Now, Nidhi Ayog already nammal parnja oru karyamanu. Appo just I will tell you some of the sectors. What are the areas for planning? Appo they carry out planning ennallathu I already told you. Appo adil varendadu ippom proper health is very interlinked with proper water supply, sanitation, nutrition thodanghiya karyangal. So that is one important area. Another is control of communicable diseases, medical education, training and research, medical care including hospitals, dispensaries and PHCs, public health services, family planning and indigenous systems of medicine. So we are coming to the end of the presentation. Discuss mainly I talked about health planning. So what is the purpose of planning? Then I told you what is the what are the steps in planning? So I told you about the various steps in planning. So this is an important short note. And another short note is you will be asked regarding the difference between monitoring and evaluation. They are small short notes. Then planning cycle പിന്നെ ചോദിക്കാൻ സാധ്യതയുള്ളത് ഈ planning commission 5-year plans planning commission അത് മാറിയിട്ട് now we have the Niti Aayog in place. Then you will be asked questions regarding the various health planning committees, especially they are usually asked as multiple choice questions. പിന്നെ ഇതിൽ നമ്മൾ ഇന്ന് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യാത്തതായിട്ടും ഒരു പരീക്ഷയ്ക്ക് ചോദിക്കാൻ സാധ്യതയുള്ള ചില ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ഒന്ന്, it is the evaluation of health services. Evaluation of health services can be asked as a short note. Then apart from that, yeah, you can be asked regarding the Indian public health standards. That brief ആയിട്ട് പാർക്കിൽ കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പം though the chapter seems a little boring, actually it is several questions can be asked from this chapter. So please go through that. So these are the various committees. Oral committee നമ്മൾ നോക്കിയായിരുന്നു. Board committee is responsible for training in SPM. Then Rome postings. Then the setting up of PHCs. Mudaliar responsible for creation of All India Health Services. The Health Survey and Planning Committee. Chadda Committee for NMEP. And it was the Mukherjee committee who said that there should be separate, the activities should be de-linked. Malaria and family planning should be carried out separately. Then came the Jangalwala, responsible for integration of health services. Kartar committee, that is mainly the multi-purpose worker committee. Srivastava committee, responsible for medical education. Then community health workers and the reference services complex. Then the Niti Aayog, the various areas for planning under Niti Aayog. അപ്പം നീതി ആയോഗ് ചോദിക്കാൻ സാധ്യതയുണ്ട്. അതേപോലെ നാഷണൽ ഹെൽത്ത് പോളിസി 2017 ആണ് ലേറ്റസ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് വന്നിട്ടുള്ളത്. So that also is there in your park. So you may be asked questions from that. So we are coming to the end of the class. Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so then I will share you the Google form.
Okay, ma'am.
Hope you all are there. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
So you have one more class today. Are you tired?
No, ma'am.
So shall we start?
Okay, ma'am.
Can you see the slides?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you hope you all know about family planning. So you have studied about this topic in so many other classes. We have taken this in our practical classes as OSPI and OSCE. Hope you remember something about this. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please respond. Whatever it is, feel free to respond. Okay. So this was one topic which you requested that you need some more clarifications. So we'll just rush through the important things in family planning. I won't be going in detail about the family planning methods because you will be studying those in you had already studied those in your practical classes, as well as you'll be studying that in your obstetrics and gynecology sessions also. Have you completed your family planning posting?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. So you'll be having one family planning posting, or if the posting is not there, they will be teaching you regarding family planning methods. So I will be talking about family. Yes. Anything you want to tell? Okay. So I'll be dealing from a community medicine perspective. So we'll start. So first we will discuss about the WHO definition of family planning. It's a way of thinking and living that is adopted voluntarily upon the basis of knowledge, attitude, and responsible decisions by individuals and couples in order to promote the health and welfare of the family group and thus contribute effectively to the social development of a country. So basically, family planning is a program which helps to regulate the number and spacing of children in a family by adopting contraceptive practice or by other birth control methods. Family planning is not a responsibility of a female. It's a shared responsibility. Both the male and female partners have equal responsibility when it comes to family planning. So the aim of family planning is to avoid unwanted births, to bring about the wanted births, regulate interval between pregnancies, control time of birth in relation to the ages of parents, determine the number of children in the family. Do you have any idea regarding what is a planned family? Please, you can respond in your chats also. Dr. Gayatri has shared the Google form. Please fill the Google form for your attendance and submit it within 5 minutes because madam will be closing that after that. So can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Please respond. Do you know anything about a planned family? Do you have any guess? Okay, so since you are not responding, I will tell. A planned family is a family in which the first childbirth is delayed until the mother is more than 20 years of age and at least 3 years gap is there between two children and the family size is limited. So this is what a planned family is. Okay, the first childbirth is delayed till the mother is more than 20 years of age and there should be at least 3 years gap between the children and the family size is limited. These things will be asked in your Viva. So be specific on these topics. You should know at least the minimum things regarding each topic. Okay. So why is all these 3 points are important? Why the mother should be more than 20 years of age at the time of first childbirth? Why there should be a gap of 3 years between the children, and why the family size is to be limited. So first we will see why early pregnancy is dangerous or risky. Like for the mother, it can impair the physical growth of the mother because she has just completed her adolescence and stepping into her youth stage. So this can impair the physical growth of the mother, can worsen malnutrition as well as anemia. There is increased risk of complications during the pregnancy, and maternal deaths can occur if the mother is below the age of 20 years. There is more risk associated with lesser the maternal age. The risk associated with the child are there is increased risk of premature birth, low birth weight, fetal mortality, and abnormal development. Of the total births in India, 52.5% is contributed by the females in the age group of 15 to 24 years. And of the total maternal deaths, about 46% is in the age group of 15 to 24 years. Okay, so hope this is clear. Pregnancy in a younger female is accompanied by more risk compared to the pregnancy in females more than the age of 20. Okay, so why there is a need for a healthy spacing in pregnancy? The ideal spacing between 2 births. This is usually asked in community medicine Viva as well as in your OBG Viva. So the ideal spacing is 3 years between 2 pregnancies. This time is required for the mother to restore her health back to the pre-pregnancy stage. The child will get proper care and attention if the birth is spaced at 3 years. If the 2 children are at a gap of 3 years, the first child will get proper care as well as attention, and that will greatly contribute to the overall growth and development of the child. And if the interval between the childbirths is less than 18 months, there is 3 times more risk of child mortality. And why this thing is important is today also about 50% of the births has a spacing of less than 3 years. So next thing was limiting the family size. Once the family is complete, that is, if the couple wishes to have 2 or 3 children, once that family size is, then they should opt for some family planning methods. They can either opt for a long-acting temporary method or they can go for a permanent method once the family size is complete. Hope this thing is clear. Now, there are few terminologies which are associated with this family planning. One is eligible couple. This can be asked as a short note, define what is an eligible couple. Such a question can be asked in your theory exam as well as this is important in practical point of view. An eligible couple is a currently married couple. The wife is in the reproductive age group of 15 to 45 years. Okay. Currently married couple in which the wife is in the reproductive age group of 15 to 45 years. Around 150 to 180 such couples are there when we take 1,000 population. There will be around 150 to 180 such couples. And the number of eligible couple that will be recorded in our sub-center. And this eligible couple register is a basic document that is kept at the sub-center level. Okay. And this document forms a basis of all the family planning works that is being carried out through the PHC. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So there is one more terminology known as the target couple. Eligible couple is more commonly used, but you have to know what a target couple is. Target couple is one with the couple who have had 2 or 3 living children. For such couple, we give them options regarding they have already completed their family. So we will give them options regarding long-acting temporary methods or permanent methods of sterilization or contraception. Okay, so there is one more terminology. This can also be asked as a short note. This is couple protection rate, which is also known as CPR, couple protection rate. This is an indicator of prevalence of contraceptive practice in the community. It is measured as the percentage of the eligible couple effectively protected against childbirth by one of the standard or approved methods of sterilization. Okay, so this is one dominant factor in reduction of net reproduction rate, NRR. So you might have been familiar with this term known as the two-child norm, small family norm and two-child norm. Have you heard about this?
Yes, ma'am.
So the two-child norm, hopefully one person is listening to this. Is that Amrita?
No, ma'am, I'm Leah.
Okay. So a two-child norm is one that is required to achieve a net reproduction rate of 1. That is achieved only when the couple protection rate is more than 60%. That is minimum 60% of eligible couple should be using one or the other approved methods of sterilization. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
When the couple protection rate is more than 60%, we can achieve a net reproduction rate of 1. That is our ultimate goal. Okay. So this is also cafeteria approach. This is also asked commonly in your Viva. This is the most common approach we use in family planning program. So we give a basket of choices for the couple, which are effective and approved family planning methods. And we provide adequate information on each method and help them choose voluntarily and with an informed decision on what method they want. And once if they adopt one method, if they want to change that method to something else, they have all the right to stop a family planning method as well as to change to some other method. We have to give all the available options to a couple when they come to our clinic regarding advice of family planning. We have to give all the available options and let them choose what they want. Okay, that method is known as the cafeteria approach. We give them a basket of choices of contraceptives. All are effective and approved methods and make them choose among those methods, those available methods. Okay. So there is one more terminology known as the unmet need for family planning. This is a currently married woman who has knowledge about at least one contraceptive method and wishes to stop childbearing or wait for next 2 or more years for the next childbirth, but not using any contraceptive method. Even though that female is having knowledge about the contraceptive method and she wishes to stop childbearing or want to delay her pregnancy or space her pregnancy, but is not using any contraceptive method. Is it good or bad?
It is bad, ma'am.
Okay, so the unmet need of family planning should not be there. That is what we what we want to achieve. But still the unmet need of family planning is 9, about 9. It was 12.9 when the National Family Health Survey was carried out 2 or 3 years back, but it is 9 in the recent NFHS survey, which was published last year. No, this year, sorry. Last year itself, 2021. It is 9. Still, it is highly prevalent. It varies from states to states. Okay, the overall unmet need of family planning is 9 according to NFHS 5. So if the unmet need is met, we can avert about 35,000 maternal deaths, about 12 lakh infant deaths, and save about 4,450 crores. and that's a huge thing. So if safe abortion services can also be provided, an additional saving of 200 crores can be there. Okay. So the current approach in family planning, there are certain changes. Initially, you might have heard about there was compulsory sterilization was being carried out at some point of time. Post the emergency period, during the emergency period and post emergency, people were forced to do sterilization operations like things. So that backstabbed the family planning program, which was launched by India. India was the first country to launch a family planning program, that too in 1952. But because of this forcing and no options were given, like sterilization were more forced on females, and such things were happening. So people were not willing to undergo, not willing to choose any contraceptive methods during few years back. Okay, so based on that knowledge, approach was changed from a previously it was like the government will fix a target, like the live births should be 25% or something like that, 25 per thousand population or something like that. And the states will be asked to achieve that target. Now it is not a target based approach, it's a target free approach. That is, voluntarily people should come forward for family planning methods. They should be made aware of the importance of family planning, and they should have a felt need about the family planning. And the children should be by choice and not by chance. That was the policy level change that has occurred in recent years. And in service level, now more emphasis is being given on the spacing methods. And we assure that quality services are being provided. And previously there were only few options. Now there are more options of contraceptives available. And based on the cafeteria approach, they can choose among all those options available. Okay, so you know about different contraceptive methods. Some are being used by males, some are being used by females. Some methods are reversible, some are irreversible. Some are hormonal, some are non-hormonal. Some are used during the time of sexual act. Some can be used regularly. For some methods, consultation is needed. For some, we can just over the counter, some medicines are being obtained. Some contraceptives are obtained. Some gives protection against STD and HIV. And a few contraceptives can affect the quantity of breast milk. Can you name few examples among these? Can you please type in your chats? Okay, can you please tell me one method of contraception which can be used in males? Please type. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Please use your chats. Can you name one method one contraceptive method that is being used by males? Anyone? Anyone else? Hopefully, Leah will be getting attendance today. Okay, so give me some examples of female contraceptive methods. Any one method you know. Yes, OCP is one method. You're right. Any reversible method of contraception? Copper T is one method used in females. Any one reversible method of contraception? Reversible method, one example of a reversible method of contraception. Yes, IUCD is reversible. Anything else? Okay, any one example for irreversible method of contraception? Yes, implant is reversible. Irreversible method, one example. Yes, tubectomy. One example for hormonal contraception. Hormonal. Any non-hormonal methods you know? Yes, among the intrauterine devices, some are hormonal, some are non-hormonal. Yes, Lippis lupus, non-hormonal. Any method which is used at the time of sexual act? Spermicide, okay, you are right. Any method which is to be used regularly? Yes, OCPs. Any method for which consultation is required? OCPs are being supplied to the with the help of ASHA workers. Hope you know that. ASHA workers have condoms, OCPs, as well as emergency pills with them. With them, they have one medicine kit with them. Some drugs are available like paracetamol, ORS, doxycycline. All those will be available with the ASHAs. Along with that, some contraceptives will be there with ASHAs, like condoms, OCPs, as well as emergency pills. Okay, IUCD requires supervision. That's right. Any method which gives protection against STD as well as HIV? Yes, condoms. Only condom give protection against STD and HIV. Okay, you should no. IUCD won't protect against STD or HIV. Only condoms protects from STD or HIV. Any method that affect the quantity of breast milk? It's a pill. Yes, like oral contraceptive pills. The combined pill affect the quantity of breast milk. Combined pill. No, mini pills are progesterone only pills that they are safe during the lactation period. They can be given during the immediate postpartum period. Mini pills can be given. Only combined pills are contraindicated in first 6 months of. Okay, so we are moving on to our next slide. So there is a term known as ideal contraceptive. An ideal contraceptive is one that is safe, effective, that is acceptable, that should be inexpensive, reversible, it should be simple to administer, and it should be independent of coitus. It should be long lasting, and little or no medical supervision should be required. And there is no contraceptive which is 100% effective. There is nothing like an ideal contraceptive, and no contraceptive is 100% effective. But it can be near 100% for some of these. So you all know these things. There are two methods of contraception. One is the spacing method and other is the terminal method. This is the classification being given in the PART textbook. Okay, so I'll be telling you this classification. You might study little different while you go to the your OBG classes. Okay. So among the spacing methods, the first is barrier method. In the barrier method, there are physical methods, chemical methods, as well as combined methods. Next is intrauterine devices. Third is hormonal methods. Fourth is post-conceptional methods. And fifth is miscellaneous. In the terminal methods, there are two methods, male sterilization as well as female sterilization. Among these, the barrier methods of contraception is a frequently asked question. Intrauterine devices is being asked, hormonal methods. Miscellaneous is very important. That is, among the miscellaneous methods, few methods are being asked repeatedly, like the natural family planning method, safe method or rhythm method, as well as the birth control vaccines. So you should read about those things from your textbook. I won't be going into detail about all the methods. Okay. Among the male sterilization, non-scalpel vasectomy is being asked. Okay, that is not being commonly being asked in our setting in community medicine. Okay, so non-scalpel vasectomy is one that is most commonly asked among the terminal methods of contraception in our paper. Okay. So coming to the barrier methods, in the physical methods, there are methods like condom. There are both female as well as male condoms available. Male condom is more popular and that is more commonly used than the female condom. Okay. There is another physical method known as the diaphragm, as well as vaginal sponges there. Okay. Chemical methods is the spermicide, and it is available in 4 different forms. One is the form that is available as tablets as well as aerosols. Then spermicidal creams, jellies, and pastes are available. It is also available as suppositories and soluble films. Okay, among the intrauterine devices, this you should know, there are 3 generations of intrauterine. It is also known as intrauterine contraceptive device. Both IUD as well as IUCD, those 2 terminologies are the same. Okay. Intrauterine devices as well as intrauterine contraceptive devices are the same. There are 2 types of IUCDs. One is non-medicated and other is medicated. The non-medicated IUCD is known as the first generation IUCD. Among the medicated IUCD, one is copper IUCD and other is hormone releasing IUCD. Copper IUCD is known as the second generation IUCD and hormone releasing IUCD is known as the third generation IUCD. This you should know. What is first generation, what is second generation, and what is third generation. Okay. Read about the details from your book. I won't be going into the details. Next is hormonal contraceptives. There are oral pills available and depot formulations. Among the oral pills, there are combined pills which contains both estrogen as well as progesterone. There are progesterone only pills or mini pills, post-coital pills. What is the other name of post-coital pill? Post-coital pill, what is the other name? Yes, emergency contraceptive, emergency pill, you're right. Then there is once a month pill and as well as the male pill. Among the depot formulations, there are injectables, subcutaneous implants, as well as vaginal rings. Okay, so these methods, the spacing method or the temporary method and the terminal method or permanent method. Among the temporary methods, these options will be available in the public health facility, like the condom, which is sold under the brand name of Nirod. Among the oral contraceptive pills, combined oral contraceptives known as the Mala N, Sencromen, which is known as the Chaya, emergency contraceptive pill, which is known as the EC pill. These are available. Among the IUCD, copper IUCD 380A as well as 375 is available. The duration of years until which this act is different, that is the difference. Okay, one is for 5 years, another is for 10 years. The 380A is for 10 years and 375, I think it is for 5 years. The injectable medroxyprogesterone acetate is being supplied through the public health facility that is known as the Antara. This Antara and Chaya has been recently launched, around 2 years back that was launched. Among the permanent methods, the male sterilization methods, the conventional vasectomy as well as the non-scalpel vasectomy is being performed. Non-scalpel vasectomy is being more commonly performed nowadays. Among the female sterilization operations, mini laparoscopy as well as laparoscopic procedures are being done. So these are the things which are available in our public health facility. All these things are available with us. So you will be asked regarding if a married couple are coming to you, what contraceptive options you can give. So the most commonly given options for the male partner is the condom. For the female partner, most commonly we suggest the combined oral contraceptive, which is the Mala N. Okay. Other options like Chaya, IUCD, injectable contraceptives, emergency. If in an emergency situation they comes post contraception, you can advise an emergency contraceptive pill. But you should very clearly tell them that this is not to be used on a routine basis. This is only limited for use is only limited in limited use in the emergency situation. Okay, so that information is to be communicated. There are some people who are using emergency pill very frequently, so that can affect their health. Adverse health effects can occur if it is used quite frequently. Okay, so that is only for an emergency use. So that should be communicated. Most commonly for a married couple who want to delay their first child, the most commonly given options are condoms as well as Mala N. But as I have already told you, as it is a cafeteria approach, you should give them all the available options. It is their choice. It is the family planning method is according to their choice. Okay. So if a couple is approaching you with one living child, what all options can you give? Okay, the only thing is Mala N, which is a combined oral contraceptive. It should not be prescribed until the baby is 6 months old. 6 months is because that is the time till which we advise exclusive breastfeeding, because the combined oral contraceptive can affect the quantity of breast milk. So that is not to be advised. All other options you can give. Okay. If a couple want to limit their family size and if they come to you regarding the advice for family planning, you can give long-acting reversible methods like the IUCD, that is intrauterine contraceptive devices, as well as you can suggest them injectable contraceptive medroxyprogesterone acetate, that is the Antara. Okay. The other option is if they want to go for a permanent method of sterilization, you can advise them non-scalpel vasectomy. If the female partner is more willing to accept a contraceptive method, you can advise them mini lap tubectomy. Do you know which contraceptive method is being most commonly used in Indian setting? Can you give any options? Among all those, no, it's not IUCD. Not condom. Yes, it's tubectomy. The female contraceptive method, female sterilization method is the most common method of contraception which is being used in Indian setting. Okay, hope that is clear. Now there is one another thing known as the contraceptive efficacy. That is how effective the contraceptive is in preventing the pregnancy. Okay, there are two methods for measuring the contraceptive efficacy. One is the Pearl Index and other is the Life Table Analysis. You usually get a question about the Pearl Index in your exams. Okay, so a Pearl Index is a measure of failure rate of a contraceptive. It is a number of contraception failures per 100 woman years of exposure. Failure rate per 100 woman years of exposure. It is calculated using the formula total accidental pregnancies divided by the total months of exposure into 1200. The total accidental pregnancies include all the unwanted pregnancies, irrespective of the outcome. Whether the pregnancy resulted in a live birth, stillbirth, or whether it resulted in an abortion or stillbirth, it doesn't count. Irrespective of the outcome, if the pregnancy was unwanted, that is an accidental pregnancy. Is that clear? Now, the total months of exposure, that is number of women using contraceptive method into number of months of contraceptive use. That is the total months of exposure. That is multiplied by, this fraction is multiplied by 1200. That is how you calculate the Pearl Index. So what is a Pearl Index? If such a question is asked, you should write it's a measure. It is the measure of contraceptive efficacy. It measures the failure rate of a contraceptive. Okay, number of contraception failures per 100 woman years of exposure. Okay, so the next topic is there are few changes which have occurred in the family planning program very recently. Like through the ASHAs, some schemes are being implemented in order to increase the usage of contraceptive methods. One is home delivery of contraceptives. As I've already told you, like the ASHA worker has some depot medicines with her. One is paracetamol, other is ORS, third is doxycycline in our setting, especially because leptospirosis is very common in our setting. So if you know about the Tolorp job, right? So those people who are cleaning these canals or something like that, those who are working in the paddy fields, so they can get exposed to leptospira. So we give the prophylactic dose of doxycycline. So the ASHA worker will be the depot holder of that tablet. So she will be having doxycycline tablets with her. She will go and supply doxycycline tablet when there is a work in the field or there is a canal cleaning like procedures going on. Okay, so along with those medicines, she will also have condoms, OCPs as well as emergency pills with her. So in some areas, like there are high performing districts, low performing districts, like classification for the based on the use of contraceptive methods. And in the low performing districts or states, there is an option for home delivery of contraceptive, and the ASHA will collect a minimal amount. For 3 condoms, she will collect 1 rupee. For a pack of OC pill, she will collect 1 rupee. For emergency pill, she will collect about 3 rupees, I think. So a nominal amount will be collected from the family members who are availing those services. Okay, and there's, yes, the emergency contraceptive pill is being given at pack of 1 tablet of emergency contraceptive pill at ₹2. Okay, pack of 3 condoms at ₹1, and a cycle of OCP at ₹1. Okay, then there is another thing known as ensuring spacing at birth by using the ASHA workers. That is, ASHA will get incentive if the first childbirth is delayed by 2 years. If the childbirth is delayed 2 years after marriage, ASHA worker will get an incentive of ₹500. And if adequate spacing, that is 3 years spacing is there between first and second child, ASHA worker will get a ₹500. And if a couple is accepting family planning method like permanent method of sterilization, ASHA worker will be getting incentive. So all these methods are used to ensure spacing at birth as well as delaying first pregnancy, and ASHA incentive is given for ensuring these things. And there is pregnancy test kits available with the ASHA worker. This test kit is known as the Nishchay kit. Okay, to confirm, that is the meaning. Okay, pregnancy test kits are part of ASHA kits to ensure early management of pregnancy. What is the identification of a female to be pregnant? Why is it important that the female should know early that she is pregnant? Anything you need to give in the first trimester to ensure like baby's well-being? Yes, folic acid tablet is to be given early in the pregnancy. Early identification of pregnancy is very important. So there are few more newer initiatives under the family planning program. Some of them are being given in your textbook itself. So just go through those things. In 146 high total fertility rate districts, in order to accelerate the use and awareness of family planning method, this initiative is started. Okay. The other is unified software for family planning logistics, expansion of contraceptive basket of choices. As I have already mentioned, Antara and Chaya are being recently added to the basket of contraceptives. Within 2 years, these came into our national program. Okay, new contraceptive packaging. The contraceptive packaging is being improved nowadays. Previously, it was not so appealing to see those package. Now it is the medicines we buy from medical stores. No, such a kind of packaging is being given for the contraceptives nowadays. And there is new family planning media campaign to increase people's participation. Media campaigning is being newer family planning media campaign is being initiated to increase the participation, increase the awareness, etc. So this is a logo of family planning. You should know about this. A red triangle, 360-degree holistic family planning approach. This is the tagline. Okay, can anyone read this for me? Can you read this? Can anyone tell me the meaning of this tagline? What does this mean? Yes, that is correct. Responsible families are the families that plan. Okay, so thus we come to an end to the family planning topic. Hope you got some idea. I haven't covered most of the things, but you should go and read on this topic. This is one topic which is very important, both from community medicine part as well as from the OPG part. You will get some questions at some point of time, both in Viva as well as practicals. You will get, as well as in theory, you will get questions regarding family planning. You should have a general idea regarding all these things. Okay. So there is one more topic for today. That's a very short topic. Okay. And that is Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, MTP Act of 1971. The government of India launched the put forward the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act in 1971, but this act came into force in 1972. And 3 amendments were made in this act in 2002, 2017, as well as 2021. So we will be mainly focusing on the amendments in that were made in 2021. Okay. The MTP Act defines the indications for carrying out medical termination of pregnancy, the persons qualified to perform MTP, and the place of implementation of MTP Act. So what are the indications? This you should know, this you should definitely know. At some point you will be getting questions regarding this. First indication, you should know about this 5 indications. One is on medical grounds, that is life of the pregnant female is at risk. 2 is eugenic grounds, that is the child will have physical, the child is physically or mentally abnormal. The birth of the newborn will have a abnormality. That is a ground for giving termination of pregnancy, medical termination of pregnancy, and that is known as the eugenic ground. Humanitarian ground is pregnancy as a result of rape. Social ground is two things come under the social ground. One is contraceptive failure, the pregnancy as a result of contraceptive failure. 2 is unfavorable social conditions. Then the last thing is age of unmarried women is less than 18 years. All these are indications for medical termination of pregnancy. If any of these is there, a pregnant female can be given a term, can opt for medical termination of pregnancy. Okay. Next is who can perform medical termination of pregnancy. One is a person who is having a master's degree in obstetrics. It can be a degree as well as diploma, graduate in obstetric and postgraduate in obstetric and gynecology. Then person who has completed 6 months of senior residency in OBG before this act came into force can also perform MTP. Okay, so the next is person who has assisted a registered medical practitioner in 25 cases of medical termination of pregnancy and done 5 cases independently is qualified to perform MTP. This you should know, the indications, the persons who are qualified to perform. The next is places. One is hospital established but maintained by government. 2 is approved government by district. Those facilities which are approved by the government as well as the district level committee. Only these places can perform medical termination of pregnancy. Okay, hope that is clear. There are indications who can perform and places where medical termination of pregnancy can be performed. Next is consent. A written consent is a must and only patient should, that is the pregnant female is the only person who need to consent for a medical termination of pregnancy. Neither there is no requirement for the consent from the spouse. Okay, so if the female is less than 18 years of age or mentally ill, consent from the guardian is to be taken. Okay, next is the changes which had occurred in the recent amendment. Previously, it was only up to 20 weeks that medical termination of pregnancy could be granted. Okay. Now, if the pregnancy is up to 12 weeks, opinion of only one doctor is needed. From 12 to 20 weeks also. Now, previously, there was a requirement for 2 doctors to certify that this person needs a medical termination of pregnancy. Now, that requirement is not there. One doctor can certify that this female can undergo medical termination of pregnancy. If one doctor certified, that female can undergo MTP. Previously, only up to 20 weeks MTP could be performed. Now the time period is extended up to 24 weeks. Because most of the time what happens is that you know about anomaly scans we do. We usually do 2 anomaly scans in pregnancy. One is during the early pregnancy, that is around the 12 to 13 weeks. And next is usually around 18 to 20 weeks. So if the second anomaly scan is delayed by some cause and if some serious anomaly is suspected, or if the pregnancy is the result of some rape or something, and if the female is not mentally capable of carrying, like looking after the child after the birth, under such grounds, pregnancy can be terminated if 2 doctors certify that MTP can be performed in this female. Okay, and Even if the pregnancy is about 24 weeks, if a medical board certify that the fetal anomaly, because of the fetal anomaly, this pregnancy won't result in a good outcome, in such cases also MTP can be performed now, according to the new amendment. So this you should know, since it is a new amendment, this can be asked in your exam. Okay, so you should remember about this chart. Now, the special categories of females for whom medical termination of pregnancy can be given, even if the pregnancy is between 20 to 24 weeks, are survivors of rape, victims of incest, differently abled women, as well as minors. Okay, now there are provision of penalty. We have already discussed that there are specified indications who all can perform the act, as well as the place in which the MTP can be carried out. So if a medical practitioner is not registered or is not having qualification as per the MTP Act of 1971, he will be given an imprisonment of 2 to 7 years, depending upon the case scenario. And if the place or hospital is not registered, 2 to 7 years of imprisonment can be awarded to the owner or the stakeholders of the hospital or the place where the MTP was carried out. Okay. So hope the act is something about the act you understood. Okay. So you should remember this act came into force in even though the draft of the act was ready by 1971, this came into force in 1972. 3 amendments were made, which are the indications, who are the persons qualified, and the places at which MTP can be carried out. Remember those things. Remember about this chart and the special categories up to 20 to 24 weeks of pregnancy can be terminated in these special categories of females. Then the provision of penalty under the act. Okay, these are the references for your further reading. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'll be sharing the Google Forms in your WhatsApp group. Please fill those forms and return back for your attendance. Are there any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.